Over the years, there have been a lot of studies on empathy and the differences in genders with regards to the emotion, though they have yielded mixed results. Today, we will look at one such study and try to analyze its results in a deeper sense than the authors of the study to reach a conclusion regarding the presence or absence of empathy in individuals on the basis of their genders. The importance of this analysis lies in verifying the implicit beliefs of the society and their manifestations in form of political and social movements. For example, both the left and the traditionalist part of the right have long maintained that women are more selfless than men and generally display a higher sense of altruism. Even the alt-right seems to have maintained that position, with Kevin MacDonald, among others, recognizing this empathy and examining the role of women in history from that perspective. But is that true? There is often a misunderstanding of the studies on empathy and the meaning of the word empathy itself. We will look at that later, however. Let's focus on the study in question first. Published in 1998 in the Economic Journal by Royal Economic Society, it is a paper by Catherine C. Eckel and Philip J. Grossman. Having hundreds of citations, the paper has been pretty influential. In the beginning of the paper, the authors quote a statement by Charles Darwin, published in 1874 in his book The Descent of Man and Selection in Relation to Sex, where Darwin argues that women exhibit more tenderness and less selfishness, while men seem to be more ambitious and competitive, which often results into selfishness. This statement by Darwin in 1874 does not just reflect his beliefs, but beliefs of almost every person you would meet, barring a few. The belief is so powerful that even after 2 centuries of active egalitarianism being pushed in the West, along with strong flavor of feminism, people from all sides of political spectrum have kept their faith firm in the principle. While in case of traditionalists, the sacrifice is often sung in form of appreciation for mothers, the liberals and the leftists glorify this virtue of women in other forms in other areas too. Both traditionalists and almost every popular ideology on the left hold the belief to their bosom to such an extent that we often see a myriad of complex reasoning to explain the historical procession up to the current era. The belief is so strong that a large section of the alternative right, which is believed to be the red-pilled brother of normie conservatism, also holds the view, often arguing empathy of women as the reason behind the disastrous consequences manifesting in the West related to an increase in acceptance of victimhood culture, strong display of socialism in political and social arena, and of course the immigration policies. Keeping that in mind, we move to analyze the paper. The experiment that is subject of consideration seems to argue for its superiority over other experiments on empathy based on two factors. Firstly, that it is a dictator experiment. A dictator experimental setup is a setup in which the strategic considerations of making a decision are separated from the decision itself to emphasize the altruistic component of the decision. Hence, under rational purview, it is expected that no person would make a particular decision unless he was sacrificing some of his gain to the other person. The reason why such experiments are termed as dictator experiments is because one single person in a particular iteration of experiment possesses the autocratic power to make the decision without facing any negative consequences from others inside the limits of the experiment. Secondly, the experiment uses double anonymity. Even if the dictator in experiment is free from any negative consequences inside the limits of the experiment, if his identity is known to other test subjects and the experimenter, he may face social ramifications for it. Similarly, if the other test subject is known to the person making the decision, he may make the decision based on a bias towards certain characteristics of the person, or may seek to gain benefit for making a favorable decision towards the other subject in the future. Hence, the double anonymity reduces other factors that may play out while making a decision, focusing the factors that went behind the decision more on the specific factor, in this case, empathy, being measured. The experiment was conducted in 10 sessions with 14 dictators in each session. Half of the sessions consisted of only male dictators and half consisted of only female dictators. In the experiment, the dictator was given $10, which he could share in increments of $1 with the other person, the recipient, who he did not know. All the people who participated, even the recipients, were also paid $5 each for showing up. The dictators were informed that the recipients had also received this much amount for showing up. The presence of this show-off fee is a very important factor, and its importance will become clear later. Remember also that this show-off remuneration is significant with respect to the amount given to dictators. Analyzing the results, the experimenters concluded that female dictators, on average, left a significantly larger amount for the recipients, averaging about twice that of the money left for recipients by male dictators. This large difference seems to be a very powerful evidence for selflessness of women. With respect to men, for such a large difference must signify a powerful unequal instinct behind the biology or will of the participants, who could be argued to be representatives of general population. However, there is more to the story than meets the eye. It is not just that the males gave a little more than half of the money to others.